If you spotted him on the street, you probably would think he's an accountant or a management consultant. You would not guess that he heads one of India's leading groups serving kids the world over. Not only has he made a major success of his studio, of his group, the Toonz Media Group in the state of Kerala, he's also helping the God's own countries, small animation studios, institutes which have popped up in the wake of the success that he's achieved under Toonz Media Group. He's put them all under an animation association, and he's coaxing the government to provide the fledgling industry incentives, just like other states such as Telangana and Karnataka have done. Many consider him the father of the Kerala animation industry, similar to, and he's really kickstarted the sector over there, just like Rajiv Chilaka and Green Gold have done in Telangana. Toonz Media Group is a diversified group involved in animation production, distribution, digital channels available worldwide in various languages in partnership with several distribution platforms. It is involved in merchandising and licensing. And so basically what they call themselves is we're a 360-degree media powerhouse with over 2 decades of unparalleled experience and one of Asia's most active animation production studios. Over 10,000 minutes of 2D and CGI kids and family content is produced by them every year. Toonz has worked with many of the leading entertainment studios, channels, and networks, including Marvel, Nickelodeon, Turner, Disney, Netflix, DreamWorks, Lionsgate, 20th Century Fox, Paramount, Sony, Universal, BBC, Amazon, Google, Hulu, HBO, and Exodus Film Group. They've done both animation and live action series as well as feature films. It's great to have Jayakumar with us. My name is Anil Wanvari, the founder, CEO, editor-in-chief of AnimationXpress.com, which is part of the 20-year-old multi-brand, multi-service Indian Television.com group. We have several verticals under our umbrella, catering to special interest and even consumers. There's Indian Television.com, targeted at cable and satellite TV, OTT, content production, advertising, marketing, technology clients. There's Animation Express, which is focused on the visual effects, comics, and gaming animation ecosystem. Under Animation Express, we run the very successful Kids Animation and More Summit and the AN Awards. Later this year, we are flagging off the VFX and More Summit and the VAM Awards. We work closely with tech and software brands to help them connect with animation. We've run the very successful radio awards. Finally, there's telechecker.com, which attracts close to
I think, Anil, we have a technical glitch.
I also represent the Asian Television Forum, which is held in Singapore. It is Asia's largest gathering of video content producers, OTT platforms, TV channels, all trading in content. Esports Power, which is held in Cannes and Miami, is also something I look after. The group also runs several, real-world industry get-togethers. Apart, now they've all gone virtual for various cohorts. VidNet, which is for the OTT tech. Anyone who's involved in OTT or in the technology to OTT, the producers for OTT brands, segments. We attract about 1,000 paying participants for VidNet every year. Then there's the Video and Broadband Summit, which is targeted at DTH, cable TV broadcasters, ISPs, telcos, and OTT platforms. It's in its 16th to 17th year. The Content Hub, which brings together writers, editors, directors, OTT platforms, TV channel programming executives, film producers, and distributors. Close to 1,000 people attend this again, and they're paid participants. Brandwid, which addresses how brands are using video to communicate directly with consumers on social media. And then the Media and Entertainment HR Summit. Over the past 7 months, we've organized close to 80 virtual roundtables and fireside chats to help industry understand and navigate through these, changing times that we're going through. Which brings us to today's fireside chat with this fantastic gentleman who I call, many consider him a bean counter, but he's done so well for himself. Welcome, Jay. How are you?
Very good, Anil. You have been very generous. Thank you very much
my pleasure.
for that introduction.
Yeah, my pleasure. So go back to 1999. Yes. What has the journey been like? Remember Menon and Bill who set up Toonz at that stage, coming out from Disney. You were there, Mohan was there, and Kathy was there as the studio manager. What has the journey been like?
I think it has been fantastic. I mean, I was kind of very, I mean, two things. One is, for me, I think, today when I reflect back, it is a very fulfilling journey and very satisfying journey and a lot of learnings. Personally, I have grown. So I think, for me, I think it is all about the learning which I got from this fantastic journey. I mean, you are aware that, my background is finance. And coming from that, with an accountant mind, I mean, you basically look at things in a very different way. And when I took over as a CEO of the company, which the soul of the company is all about creativity and artistic, and normally that that creativity and the counting things, I mean, they are two different extremes, and how you handle these two, and I think these are very complementary things. I mean, if you from an artistic perspective, it is all about perfection, right? And an artist is never satisfied with his work because he will go on perfecting it. But from a finance professional's point of view, it's all about time and money. You need to finish it on time and you need to finish it on budget. So how do we incorporate both these things in a most elegant way? So I think it has been a fantastic learning. It has been a perfect learning. Lot of the things which I learned earlier, I had to unlearn, and I need to understand this thing in a new way. So I think it has been a very fulfilling journey. I mean, we have done a lot of great things. We built a world-class organization. In the journey, we have done a lot of stupid things. That has been great learnings. So yeah, I think it has. I'm very satisfied.
I get it. So what are the stupid things you did?
No, I would say that,
it's okay. This is all about learning. We've got a studio like DQ currently.
Absolutely. A lot of co-productions, I mean, the early days, today I am very particular, and that is the reason why I wanted to get involved in psych and all that, kind of stuff. And I am always available for young entrepreneurs to come and, ask and discuss with me. Because when we basically went into this journey, there is really not many people whom I can go to and talk to, because everyone is new and nobody really know the outcome and all. The kind of, one particular thing I can tell you about, co-productions, right? At the early days, we got into co-productions with, I don't want to name companies.
There was one with Treehouse. You did one with Treehouse many years ago.
Yeah, that was the first one. But I think, I'm talking about, we have done with, large companies, big time broadcasters, and you get into that kind of co-production deals with a lot of due diligence and with a lot of, kind of fanfare, and eventually you lost the entire money, right? That kind of things I'm talking about. So I think that is the kind of things I'm talking about. You feel that you have the financial background, you have that due diligence, kind of things, and you do all that stuff. Yet you fail completely and not able to recoup even 10% of the money you invested in. So I think we have gone through that, and and several of those things. This is one instance I'm talking about. So several of these things we have gone through. One thing which I'm very particular is that, it is okay to fail, it is okay to make mistakes, but learnings from that is very important. And if you make same mistake again and again, that is a crime. But if you learn something, and if you are able to learn and you move on and you kind of build the organization further, we don't have a problem. And fortunately, I have a group which is basically trusting me in terms of, kind of all these, kind of things in a very philosophical way, which I believe is also a very, very important, catalyst for our growth and success.
So you had nearly 2 near business collapses during your 20 years, if I'm correct.
Correct.
And the Chanderias backed you in full force.
Yes.
What was the two? I mean, I look at what's going on with TQ right now. It's struggling. I think they say it's shut down. We don't know really.
Right.
But it was such a landmark kind of a company when it was doing international co-productions and producing. So what did you learn from those?
No, I think, for us, the first time was, there was, if you remember in 2003, 2004,
Yes.
that there was a collapse of the entire animation, kind of business. So that was a big one. What was Ashish first company, that company in Bangalore, that failed, crushed, was, I mean, almost every company was going through a very, very tough time at that particular point in time. And we ourselves had a very different problem because you have met Mr. Menon, right? The chairman, the guy.
Yeah, I've bumped into him. I haven't. Yeah. I may have, but it's been many, many years since I haven't met him.
Correct. So when I joined the company, Mr. Menon is the one who conceived the idea of setting up this animation shop in Kerala. Even though he has absolutely no clue about this industry, and he was just an entrepreneur, and he thought there is an opportunity, and he started this and brought in Bill Dennis. And Mr. Menon passed away in 2002, end of December. Okay. And Mr. Menon actually created huge businesses. He created billions of dollars for the group. One of the company, one company he started along with Toonz is UST Global. Today, it is around $1.5 billion in revenue. It's a software company here. So he created billions of dollars for the group. So he had a very different standing with the Chandaria family and the group because of what he created that. But when he passed away suddenly, all of a sudden, the group basically wanted to evaluate each business independently, and see how is it going and all that. And at that particular point in time, they felt that, Toonz is not, kind of doing well, so they need to make corrections. And this was all of a sudden, and I was basically running finance. I have no idea about the animation business other than the nitty-gritties of the finance, and the group wanted me to take over as the CEO. At that particular point in time, they took a leap of faith, and they told me that we think you will be able to lead it. We will support you. Take it. So that was a big, kind of thing, because I didn't have any real background about the animation business wise, other than the 2 years of experience in the finance in this company. So at that particular point in time, we were undergoing some trouble. So that was one crisis, and the second one is the recession.
Absolutely, 2008-9.
Correct. In that time, but I think the first one, of course, it was truly the support of the Chandarias, which helped us, because otherwise there is no other way, because there was no revenues, there was no projects. And literally, I was new to the market. So that time, I think they came and supported us. And I have also taken some very long-term strategies at that particular point in time, and which really built the organization when I reflect back. One was I have migrated majority of our workforce to CGI, trained them and kind of CGI. So that was one major thing I have done in the initial days of my takeover, because we are a 2D company until that time. Until 2003, we are a total 2D company. We didn't have any CGI division. So I converted around 80% of our 2D workforce to CGI. That was first thing I have done. Second thing I have done is I basically told the family that, in order to really build value in the business, you need to be in the IP business. You should not be just in the service. Service will help you in paying the bills, but if you really wanted to, kind of build value in the company, you need to own IPs. So we started co-productions and producing our own IP, Tenali Ram and all that. happened at that particular point in time. So, and then we continue that, those two strategies, even today, we continue to do that. And the recession was okay for us, and we took some, some cost cutting measures at that particular point in time, kind of reducing the salary and that. But one thing I'm very proud, I can tell that even during these two difficulties, and recession was, for us, it was not that bad. It was okay. But the first, when Mr. Menon's exit and all was bad, because, even for the people, and we were around 500 people working at that time, even for people, they were not sure whether I will be able to run the ship.
Absolutely.
Here is a guy coming from finance, have no idea about artists, and taking them into consideration and giving them confidence. And also, I was completely new to the market, and Bill was a veteran, and fitting into his shoes. There is multiple problems at a personal level and a business level I had to handle. But I'm very grateful to the group of trusting me and my people, backing me, and then kind of standing beside me with our vision of building this company. And when I really look at, we were having, celebrating the people who were completing 20 years with Toonz. I've seen that around 25 plus people already completed 20 years with us. Wow. Which I think is quite large. And we also had a real consistency in the management team, where it is Hari Varma, Hari Iyer, even other people, they all retired from here. They just didn't go away because there were some bad times. They all believed in it and stayed with me, and and contributed in building this company.
Yeah, so you said what do you have here? Because I don't see too many organizations apart from maybe Green Gold and to a certain extent, actually Green Gold, where yes, retention rates are high. Right. What do you do different?
I think one of the things, we gone through that real problem initially, Anil, because, if you really remember, when we started in 2000, in 1999, yeah, really there were no companies in scale and size, and probably UTV, Toonz at that point in time, but they very quickly wounded their shop. So the only place where quality manpower available was Toonz, because we spent initial days. I remember my initial 2 years before Menon passed away, we spent around $17 million US. And majority of that money we use for training.
So Ajit was one of the guys who trained you all, right?
Ajit, yeah, Ajit was fantastic. Ajit was there, but we brought in a lot of people from Philippines, America. Atul Rao brought in as a script writer from America. Roger Dontis as the creative director, we brought in from America. A lot of people from Australia, Philippines. Around 75 Filipinos were here. So we brought in a lot of people with a soul, because Mr. Menon was very clear in his vision. He wanted to build a global company with no compromise on quality. So he decided that one of the key things we wanted to do is to train people to the international standards and production values. Because India had never done those kind of works earlier in a scale and size. Small works, yes, but in a scale and size. But then what happened is in 2001, when there was a lot of hype about animation industry, and investors were, kind of queuing up. They thought it is a very sunrise industry and they wanted to put in money. Suddenly, Toonz became a perfect poaching ground. And we lost, kind of people left, right, and center. And that is the time we decided that, okay, listen, the industry is booming. There is a real problem with regard to industry is the lack of real skilled talents. So we decided that let's train people. So initial 1 year, 2001 to 2002, we hire people and we paid them stipend, we trained them, and best of the people we absorb them. Almost 90% of the people we train, we absorb them, and became part of the thing. That is the thing we continued for around a year and a half. But then this issue came up where you lose people very quickly.
Was it Penta Media who poached a lot?
No, a lot of, everyone, when the Ashish company, the first company started in Bangalore, we lost a lot of people. We lost a lot of people to Crest, a lot of people to DQ. We lost a lot of people to DQ. So any company, any new company, kind of starting up, the thing is that, this is normal. This is a kind of, because the demand is very high because everybody needs talent and the supply is very short. So when you have that situation of supply demand gap, it happens, and suddenly somebody who is getting 25,000 rupees in Toonz get 50,000 rupees in Bangalore. And from an artist point of view, it's great because they get double the salary. So they just jump. And these are initial days of, the business was just at a very infancy stage. It was not matured at all. And there is no other way. There is no other way. So we did that. But after 1.5 years, we realized that, kind of paying them stipend and training them, because it is, stipend is very small, maybe 10,000 rupees. But because we are using trainers who are from America and all, that we are paying them dollar salaries. So the training cost and the per capita cost of training is humongous. Mm-hmm. And losing people left, right, and center is not a very good thing. And we also realized that the industry need more people. So we decided to start a commercial training institute in Vendram, Toonz Academy. And initial days we were taking people by after hundreds. We only give, because we have limited space, so we only give around 150 people in a year. And that training institute, continues even today, Anil. And I can tell you that that particular strategy of that training institute, and then we went and helped the West Bengal government, Toonz Webel Academy, all this, But one thing we did it very clear, I'm very proud to say that even today, when you go to any studios, major studios, you see all the top creative people are either from some Toonz background or a Toonz Webel background. Because one thing we have never compromised is on the quality of the training. For us, it is not a money-making exercise. It is giving back to the community. We never compromised on the quality of the training program, and because of that, we have almost 96% placement track record. Whether it is Toonz Academy or with the Toonz Webel Academy. Toonz Webel Academy, when we were involved, this was the early days, 4 years, 96% of the people who come out of Toonz Webel Academy and Toonz Academy were placed. And we only have limited seats in Toonz, so they are placed in other top-level industry, kind of things. And that institutes, Webel Academy, we withdrawn, but for Toonz Academy, we continued. Even today, it is doing extremely well. The COVID situation is there, but so physical training is not there right now. But I'm talking about until the COVID situation, it has been doing very well. And it also helped us in terms of making sure that even if we lose some talent, we always get the best of the talent from our academy. So that really helped us in terms of making sure that our talent base is very strong, at the same time, very dynamic.
Thank you for that. So, I still didn't get the answer on one, what helps in the retention rate? You said the training. What else helps in the retention rate?
I think, I believe, one, it is because we also changed our model. Initially, our quotient was around 80% people outside of Kerala and around 20% from Kerala. That was the initial few years, our thing. But then we realized that, they were all coming because there is no real opportunity in their home territory. And it was okay at that point in time because it was only probably Toonz and DQ and another or Crest or 2 or 3 companies. But then when companies started mushrooming in other parts of the country, people started going back to their hometown. So we also changed our strategy. So we have given more opportunity to local talent. We thought these people will be able, we will be able to retain more. So that strategy helped. Because generally, if they really get an opportunity in their hometown or in their state, I think they stay. And the second one for artistic people, one of the key thing is challenging projects.
Mm-hmm.
So that is actually, I believe, for many of the people, if you really give them projects which can challenge their creativity and challenge their technical prowess, they normally kind of tend to stay with you. And I think these two probably would contribute to the kind of better retention.
Yeah. So you yourself said, you confessed there are a bean counter, a CFO. So what do you think has helped you make Toonz Media Group a success? Whereas I was quite shocked when I heard that DQ was kind of folding up.
Yes.
So what has made you success? What has allowed you? What skill sets have you brought to the table?
I think, and I have seen this, and I can tell you this with a little bit of a conviction, because we are, we are working Toonz, like any other larger company, we are working with several smaller partners. Mm-hmm. And many of them I know personally as well. So I can tell you that one of the problem in the industry, generally in the industry, is that because the industry is a creative industry, a lot of the entrepreneurs are also creative, right? And they don't necessarily have some people definitely have. They have beautiful combination of both business as well as artistic skills. But a vast majority don't have that. They're very good in their creative skills and technical skills, but they don't have the business skills or financial skills. They don't really understand the cash flow, importance of cash flow, how to manage all that. So when people don't have the skills, and when they don't employ a qualified guy to take care of that and leave that part to a qualified person, many of the entrepreneurs, what they do is, they basically manage both. And when you really manage both, that is where the failure is. And most of the failures I can attribute to lack of financial business skills, right? And that is not a problem if you don't have the skill. You just need to employ the right guy and trust him and work with him as a partner to do that. And this is the same kind of thing even for global failures. One of the large global company which completely shut down the shop in India and the world, I have gone and talked to them about an acquisition. This was way back 10, 15 years back, I believe, or 10 years back. And I was shocked when the company was at a really bad shape, real bad shape. And this guy was talking about things which has absolute no relevance or making no financial sense whatsoever. So I think, and what he was talking about is nothing wrong or nothing bad. It's all good things about, giving incentives to artists, giving vacations to artists, giving all that benefit to artists, which are great in a very positive scenario. But when your ship is sinking, then you are expected to take steps to save the company, to save the artists, to save their jobs. Sometimes you need to take difficult decisions, but those decisions are essential to save their employment, to save the job, and to save the company, and to save the industry. So that kind of things which I've seen. In our case, I was very clear about my strength, and I was very clear about my weakness. My strength is I know the nuts and bolts of finance and business. My weakness is that I'm not creative. Okay, I never involved in any creative decision in my company. I leave always that to my other partners, my creative partners or technical partners, and I trust them completely. But I take business kind of decisions, and I make sure that they all understand why I'm taking that kind of decision. So I think that complement that kind of a combination of my knowledge about finance and business in general, and and other guys who are qualified enough, like Hari Varma and Atul Rao and all those kind of creative leaders in the past, and in currently Indra and Vijay Varki and all the people here. So they, that kind of complementary contribution, I believe it is probably, if I reflect back, I think that probably contributed to our success, and we are still surviving and growing.
Yeah. Now coming back again, you said that animation studios normally aren't financially managed. Walt Disney grew on the back of public money. Yes. You've got a group funding you in a way whenever you needed it, but you haven't needed it much, you said. Right. So we had DQ, which was a listed company. We had Crest, which was listed. Two companies in the animation ecosystem which have kind of keeled over. Yeah. So what does this behoove for the sector as a whole? I mean, will we ever build a global company? Or I'm not talking about Toonz. I'm saying on the back of public money, in which we also pay back. We reward our investors and on the stock exchanges, and basically lay private investors. Or is this sector really not going to see any more investment coming in and it has to be entrepreneurially driven rather than through public funds?
Yeah, I think that really depends upon investors. Basically invest money based on sentiments, right? So I remember in 2001, several private equity investors were actually knocking at our doors almost every day. They were very interested. People were interested in investing right now at that particular point in time. But we were not ready at that point in time, and the family thought, we are at the early stage. Let's go later. But then what happened is, the industry in general, some of the public companies like Crest earlier and now DQ. So these are all not giving the right sentiments to investors. Okay. But that doesn't mean that, there is no money, because I know at least for one or two large level private equity investors are looking at this sector in India. They've approached us and they told me that, they are looking for, kind of right players for them to invest, because globally there is an increased feeling is that, because of these OTT platforms and the global content ecosystem, there is a feeling that, animation is going to be a very strong performer. Even right now, where all the live action productions are halted, nobody is even given ensuring that, because of the COVID scenario, animation films are continuing, right? So generally there is a feeling about large level investors that this is a sector which is, much more safer, and historically animation films performed much better compared to live action films. At overall whole, if you really look at Hollywood, their rate of return to the investors is very meager, 7.5%. I'm talking about all studios, Walt Disney, Universal, Fox, all together. If you really look at the history of Hollywood, the average IRR is only 7.5, which is absolutely not good, right? So investor returns, I think, but animation films, as a total, by far performed much, much better than the live action film. So I think there is definitely there. But from an Indian scenario, or for any kind of scenario, they need to really see companies basically give investors a desired return in order to get that thing. So unfortunately in India, probably unfortunate to our industry, that we don't have a success story to be shown in the public sector. But I'm pretty sure that will change, Anil. And that can change just with one project. Look at E1 Entertainment, right? Sure. It is a, kind of a Canada, but they were a larger, kind of a live action company and all. Yeah. And they have been sold to Hasbro for almost $4 billion, all cash, right? They were, when they were selling the valuation, the almost entire valuation of $4 billion because of Peppa Pig. Just one animation property.
Wow.
So the game of this thing, in my opinion, is that we are lucky that we survived, and companies like Green Gold, like us, and Maya, and
Cosmos Maya. Yeah,
Cosmo
yeah.
Maya, yeah. So these companies, our job is to survive during these difficult times, and wait and constantly working on IPs, and your turn will come, and one IP can basically change your valuation to a very different kind of thing. So I mean, Green Gold probably got lucky at the very early stage itself.
We seem to be having a.
Sorry, are you hearing me properly?
We lost you. I lost you for a second. I couldn't hear you. I lost you for a little while. You're frozen, actually. Now you're back.
Okay. So
now you're frozen again.
Yeah.
Let me just try.
Yeah.
Is your connection stable? Or
yeah.
Let me just.
My connection seems to be stable.
Okay. 1 minute. Yeah. Let me just try connecting to my.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you seeing me better now?
Yeah. I can.
Okay, so I've connected to my Vodafone. I'm in a small village.
Okay.
In the interior of Maharashtra.
Yeah. I'm at office, so broadband, so no worry. So I think I think I'm a firm believer of we will reach there. I think we will.
You were talking about DQ and Green Gold. You were saying that you were fortunate that you were talking about Green Gold, Cosmos, and when I lost you totally.
Okay. No, what I'm saying is these companies are surviving. Kind of all these negativities, and I believe we just need to survive enough to have our turn, because one IP. There is no really recipe for kind of success in this kind of things. If we all know that, then we would have already created that. So we just need to really create constantly, which we are all creating enough IPs. We kind of create 10, 15 IPs, both domestic as well as international. I think we just need to kind of wait for our turn, and one great success will take the valuation to a different level and give investors a disproportionate return. And once people see that, I think investors will come in, whether public or private. So I think it is just a matter of time.
No, I've been hearing this forever.
I know.
I've been hearing it. You've been hearing it forever. Yeah. Are you looking at unlocking value out of for Toonz Media, or the promoters are happy?
Currently not, because we are probably in a good position, because the family has enough capital and they feel they are very happy with the value we created so far, and so they are not really looking for public money anytime soon. But that may change. That may change. We are a couple of initiatives we are kind of spinning off as separate companies. For those initiatives, we may raise kind of capital, because we thought those initiatives requires larger capital to fulfill its dreams. But otherwise, for Toonz, we don't have an immediate kind of time frame to raise money.
Okay, so you began by saying that many perceive this as a global animation, studio or animation media kids media company. So yeah, I'll just continue. Talk us through how have you got it to what he had conceived, how you fructified what was the vision.
Yeah. So originally, our origins are from animation only. We started as a 2D animation company, and then we basically, got into CGI, and then initially with just the India facility. And then as I told you, we started investing money into IPs, to both co-productions as well as our own productions. And after a couple of years, we realized that investing in the intellectual property is great, but one of the key things is also monetizing it, making sure that you are selling it to the world, and making sure that you are getting your money back. And one of the things which we realized over the course of that journey is that it is better to have your own sales division, rather than, because after you spend millions of dollars, you don't want to be at the mercy of a sales agent who probably don't have a skin in the game, right? So that thought process led us to an acquisition of a company in Spain called Aimira Entertainment. So Aimira was a major European distribution company. So we hired that. We bought them on board. They continue to be our distribution company. So that really bought us the sales power. So they not only our product, they also sell third-party products, and it also give us a lot of intelligence from market. Because when we really create a product in other way, in earlier days, it was mostly driven by creativity. Somebody come up with his own idea, and then a lot of importance given to that side. But when we really brought in that sales company on board, what we also got is the market intelligence. What the broadcasters want, what is trending, what is everybody is looking at, what are those kind of nuances we wanted to add. So all these info, because these marketeers are constantly talking to the markets, various broadcasters, various OTT platforms. So I think that really brought in I would say a process improvisation.
You'll have to excuse me, I lost you because I'm in a village. So there's fluctuating bandwidth. Yeah. So you said you took Aimira.
Yeah, took Aimira, and I was saying that we took Aimira, and that was a very good thing. Not only we have a complete internal dependency on our product selling, but it also improved our processes, because earlier we were giving more importance to creativity because that was only one criteria, but now we got a lot of market intelligence. Our salespeople are talking to market practitioners almost every day, and they give us that kind of inputs. What does the market wants? What does the specific market needs? What are the broadcasters are looking at? What are the changing trends? What are the consumers' new behaviors, changing viewing patterns? All those inputs we used to get from our sales team, and there was a consistent, kind of exchange of ideas between our development team and the sales team, and that has really led to a lot of improvement within our own process and our own ability to sell, more products. And then we realized that one of the key things, and that is actually an India failure, because we don't have any we have co-production treaties. That is not correct to say that there is no co-production treaty, but there's no real meaningful benefit from the co-production treaties for an Indian studio. So that really led us, we thought that we wanted to start setups in jurisdictions where we have tax credits and subsidies. So we looked at some of those kind of territories like France, Canada, New Zealand, and several other territories we looked at. So we decided to we were looking for opportunities. So then we started our studio in New Zealand. New Zealand basically offers 20% tax credit to service work and 40% for co-productions, right? So that we started, and New Zealand is also very good because New Zealand has a free trade agreement with China. And by the time China also emerged as a major player in the last few years, significant revenue stream from there. So we wanted to, basically look at that market, and one of the easiest route was New Zealand because of the socio-political situations with India. It was easier for us to do this either through Singapore or through New Zealand. And New Zealand was the right one. And we started New Zealand. New Zealand is doing extremely well. We are currently doing 2 projects in New Zealand with the New Zealand on air. And we are also working on another Chinese feature film project between a China-New Zealand co-pro. Then similarly, we looked at another company in Ireland called Teligale. Teligale is also a very old company, which they are 30 years old in Europe, one of the largest European facilities, around 180 people working there, so quite large from a European perspective. They are predominantly a post-production house, but then we started pre-production also. We also bought a live action studio under Teligale from a very famous legendary filmmaker in America called Roger Corman. Roger Corman basically brought in James Cameron and Will Smith and almost everyone to business. He's the first major independent producer. So he started this studio in Ireland way back. That was the first independent studio any Hollywood producer created outside of United States. And we purchased from him the studio. Now that studio is part of Teligale. So that also has given us capability to do live action productions. So by a series of these acquisitions and strategy changes from a pure 2D animation company, to sales and, multiple locations and, kind of things, and then digital. So we currently are, looking as not just as an animation house, but as a kids and family content house. Not only just content production, but content production, distribution, digital exploitation, and education is also a major service we wanted to take it to global. So that is our new initiative, which we will be launching it in January. Initially, probably in India, but very short period of time we will be launching globally. Is a platform for learning art, mostly animation, visual effects, gaming, and other art forms.
Fantastic. So a bit like the coding apps which have come up, which allow you to learn virtually rather than going into classrooms.
Correct, but yes, it is not recorded classes. I mean, there will be recorded classes, but I think we wanted to give. It is going to be digital, but we wanted to give them, experience that so that it will be more interactive. And we are also because of our strength and our strength in production and our partnerships in various countries and India also with different studios. We are also basically going to provide internship to the online students, live internship on our projects as well as our partner studios and all. So we're going to kind of give much more than what a normal online company doing.
My estimate is that you're around $100 million group on the higher side. When will we see you breaking into the $1 billion?
No, I think our revenues are to the tune of around 75 million. Unfortunately, this year, we even though the business was great, we had a lot of execution challenges. So we were not able to really grow this year, and hopefully we will grow. But I think that is the sales revenue. But in terms of value, we never done a proper valuation. We don't know, but I think we are quite happy with the value. I can't really quantify that value, whatever it is, but I think I believe definitely our big, hairy, audacious goal, which we internally set as a next milestone, is definitely $1 billion valuation. And currently, I believe we are heading in the right direction. We are working with the right global creators around the world. We are looking at so we also now acquired a new company which is into AR, VR, and gaming, which is a new thing. And that company, it's a very small company. In a 1 year time, we have achieved 10x growth. In that particular company, where we wanted to really spend a lot of money. So I think we are, quite confident that $1 billion milestone is not too far. We ourselves are giving 3 to 5 years to reach there. So we really wanted to kind of fast track that growth. But you never know, right? Nobody expected COVID. So these kind of things. So we also need to adapt to the market situations. But at least our goal is that in the next 3 to 5 years, we wanted to reach there.
That's great ambition, because I think the next year, my perception is a year and a half until a miracle occurs. We are going to be wallowing around in the territory that we are currently, because there doesn't seem to be any let up. And people keep saying the WHO just announced that the vaccine is no answer. It's going to continue.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a challenging time for us. Has it been for you all challenging?
Yeah.
Has it been challenging for you all, the COVID situation?
Yeah, the COVID situation is, we are also impacted. But how we were able to tackle the situation to a large extent through meticulous planning and crisis management. The lockdown meant that we could not commute to office. However, there were production deadlines and other commitments for us to meet. So we took up a massive asset transfer operation to shift the machines of our artists from the studios to their homes. Around 450 machines were shifted as part of this in a matter of 2-3 days. Most of these are workstations with high-end software for animation production. We are striving hard to ensure that none of our projects are affected by the situation. We have a well-formulated business continuity plan in place. So we are prepared to meet any further unforeseen disruption. So far, we haven't had any major challenges with meeting deadlines, but of course, there are a few, because one of the things which we really had a problem is that most of the smaller studios where our partners, they were very seriously impacted. And so that was one challenge, but now we kind of fixed that as well. Some of the very smaller studios, unfortunately, we were not able to, depend on them. So we also kind of identified the studios which we can depend, because a lot of these smaller studios also shut down. They were not able to cope up with that, kind of thing. Cash flow is a major issue for a lot of these smaller studios.
Yeah. So in terms of how many of these have shut down really across the, let's look at the animation scene in India. There's big companies, big studios such as yours. There's Green Gold. There's Cosmos Maya. Yeah. There are the next rung of studios which are kind of staying above the water. There's Mad Max's studio, which is doing global work. There's companies in Pune. So can you talk us through how you perceive the animation scene in India today? What is it structured like? What are the different levels, the layers?
No, I think, there are, I was very surprised when in 2019, when we celebrated our 20th anniversary, that is a time we thought we wanted to do something to the state, to the community. So at that point in time, I did a random survey to understand how many animation studios exist in Kerala. I was only aware of probably 2 or 3. One or two, there was one Epica and other one, some smaller companies. But then the survey was an eye-opener. We had 100 studios operating out of Kerala at that particular point in time. Then we thought, okay, listen, this is fantastic. That means we definitely need to bring the fraternity together and work towards, kind of common goals, not only for the companies, but also for the artist. And then talk to the government and all that. So the point I was basically saying is that there's a lot of different layers of companies who are, 100 plus, kind of level, the companies who are, mid-level 50 plus, and then there are smaller companies with 3 to 5 people, kind of companies. So I think there is a lot of these companies, the smaller companies, are impacted. I would say, I don't have the exact number, how many number of Indian studios shut down, but because I've been in various panels and various these discussions, what all we think collectively is that, probably around 10% of the studios may have shut down. And these shutdowns are not necessarily from a point of there is no work. The work, I don't think it impacted. So our business other than VFX companies, yes, it has impacted because the live action shoot has almost come to a halt. But for animation companies, it has the work has not actually come down in a big way. Probably small hitches here and there, but real problem was this disruption was kind of very dramatic for them, and there were no business continuity plans, and most of the people were working, so they didn't have plans for remote working, so the processes and all that. Even for us, I think initial times it was very tough, but we very quickly we were able to kind of get into that new normal. But for smaller studios, it was difficult, and on top of that, sudden lockdown and sudden cash flow problems, because most of these smaller studios are not funded. They were all bootstrapped by some creative people, by their own savings and stuff, and beyond a point they are not able to fund their businesses. But I'm pretty sure that once the situation improves, they will all come back, and it will be back to normal.
And also there were a lot of layoffs and salary cuts across the sector.
Yes.
Has us managed to right size the kind of money that is being paid out because of the kind of work demand that was coming in? There was some amount of abuse of employment which was happening among some artists and some creative people, jumping ship, shifting around for money.
Yeah.
So has there been a leveling off? And secondly, how much unemployment has been generated now by the COVID?
I don't think, because yes, there are, of course, now DQ is kind of doing that, and of course there are 200 300 people, but what I'm seeing is that, for example, we need people, we are recruiting, Technicolor is massively recruiting, Maya is recruiting, Green Gold is recruiting. I mean, I think I don't really see a real problem of unemployment here. Yes, certain companies shut down, and it is just a matter of the artist find the new home. I really don't think from an unemployment perspective, our industry, and I was actually talking to, and I had a virtual town hall with our own team, and I was telling them, guys, we are lucky, we are fortunate. Look at other industries, look at restaurant industry, look at travel industry, look at tourism industry, look at other industries, look at India as GDP as a whole. What is coming down? So economic activities have significantly impacted. We are so lucky that the impact to our business is very, very limited.
Hello.
So I am very optimistic. I'm just kind of, okay, because my feeling is that our job as leaders is to exude confidence in our people. We should not be panic mongers. I mean, especially in a situation where our industry is not that impacted like any other, lot of other industries. Look at live action.
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I agree. Now, coming back again, so coming back to Toonz Media, where your dependency on local is it increasing, or is it going to be a balance between Indian productions as well as international? Are you looking at a 50-50 or 30% from Indian productions, and let's say another 70% from co-pros and from international productions? Or what is yours? And what is the slate looking like domestically?
Domestically, I think, because I think the slate is 50-50, 50% service and 50% our, IPs, which we also co-own. That is co-own or we own. So that is the kind of model we are pursuing. But Indian scenario is increasingly getting tough in terms of IP ownership, because broadcasters wanted, because they are spending a lot of money on this production, they are almost funding the production. So they felt that they wanted to own the IP, so that, and most of them are creating their own IPs. So I think that thing is there. So what we are doing is, we are still doing that because I strongly believe in the India story. But what we are more concentrating on is international production, and on international production, again, we are looking at more co-productions where we are the lead producers. So where we have more, kind of say, rather than we co-produce it with a third-party producer. So I think that is where we wanted to go on. I think in the next 2-3 years, we wanted to only do productions, our own productions, and which we will co-produce with other partners, but we don't want it to get into third party. So what we are doing is we are working with global creators, top level creators, global brands. So we wanted to up the game. We also wanted to get into more live action productions. So these are the areas where the economy of scale is easier, because animation production, we take one more project, a lot of challenges because scaling up, because it's very labor intensive. But for live action and all, it is very different. You take a project, you put a team, you can do multiple projects at the same time. So I think we wanted to look at live action also as a growth engine, not necessarily in India, but globally.
So then we will go, like you just did the Soyuz multi-film partnership, co-production partnership for Aliens in My Backpack. Is Paul still curating some of your relationships, both in animation and live action? Or?
Yeah, that is a very strategic.
That's Paul Robinson?
Yeah, that is a very strategic partnership. I don't know, Anil, whether you are aware, we have a TV channel in Russia called March TV.
Yeah.
And, we started in 2016. That became profitable in 2018. Now that is generating really good cash. So Soyuz Multifilm is the biggest film animation and film production company, state-owned. It's a Russian state-owned company in Russia. So they basically wanted to get into a strategic partnership with us. So we wanted to create a long-term partnership, not only just because Russia, because of our channel, we have larger interest there. We have interest in consumer products market. We have interest in distribution. We have interest in a lot of this. So Soyuz Multi is a first step towards a larger collaboration, because any collaboration, even any business I always did, first initial business to ensure that we have a good chemistry before we really get into formal larger partnership. So Soyuz Multi, this co-production is a first step, and if we feel that the chemistry is good and the partners are happy with each other, then I think it will basically grow into a larger level of partnership there.
Yeah, so I'm going to switch back again to working in this challenging time. So your artists, 450 machines, but you said you're back to the office. So have the machines come back to the office, or they're still at home?
I am back to the office because some of our leadership team started working. Only 10% of the people are working from the office. All the other people are working from home.
And again, in terms of, they've all been open to cuts and all that, and because they've all been open to salary realignments, if I'm correct. This industry has to understand that.
Correct. Even earlier, we used to have a process called daily huddles. So, so even for me, every day for 10-15 minutes, the entire management team will come in and talk for 15 minutes, whatever our challenges, our goals for the day, and generally if any of them are stuck. So that's a huge help for internal coordination and interdepartmental coordination. So similarly, there is a huddle with every department. So every department head is at the morning. So that is still continuing even digitally, and so that way our department heads are talking to individual artists on a daily basis. This I'm talking about, except for all other interventions like HR, all other interventions are there. But this particular one of this daily huddle, at every level of the organization. So through this, we are pretty much in touch with everyone on an everyday basis.
And they've all been open. They've understood that this is a reality and this is unlikely to go away very soon.
Yeah, correct. I think we also, because the problem is that, I mean, I think work and all, we are reaching there. I think we are basically getting near productivity, as they were at the studio. So that I think the challenge is that, emotional issues, and a lot of lady staff members, because suddenly they are at home, they also need to, kind of take care of their household work. And we do, a quarterly survey with our people to understand the challenges for them, and the management team go through that, and those challenges we address, sometimes individually, sometimes as a policy intervention. I think constantly we are hearing from them. It's very difficult because, earlier we can meet each other, and it is easy, it is very physical, right? Now this is the only way. But I think we quite clearly understand the pulse of the people, and wherever people undergo some difficulty, we basically go and talk to them, give them help in terms of counseling or health tips. Some of the people who basically got COVID. So we in Technopark, we have a COVID rapid response team. So we help them that way. We give them emotional support. So it's all kind of the normal HR interventions we do. So I think we are quite dynamic to that situation.
Yeah. So now, has the pandemic situation affected your schedules, and have the partners also been affected in terms of cash flows? Because I know certain companies have had, they've had to realign because they've not been able to take delivery at times, and they've not been having cash flows coming in from their broadcast partners. So there's been a bit of a challenge. You said cash flows were a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because I don't think, luckily, all of our partners have been AAA rated partners, our partners. So partners, I'm saying not vendor partners, I'm talking about our customers. We're all AAA rated. So we didn't have a problem with regard to business cut or any of that sort. But what happened is cash flow was impacted because suddenly, unilaterally, some of the people have taken a decision that instead of 30 days, we will only pay you after 60 days. This is, I'm talking about not just even in our industry. We were doing some work for Tata Group. So I'm talking about other industry groups as well. And, immediately after COVID, we got a notice from them saying that, we wanted to change our, kind of things. So whatever your contract has been, we are only going to pay you after an additional 30 days. So all companies, any companies who really wanted to survive are taking that kind of decisions. So the only way, and that basically put companies like us into a cash flow, crunch. But so far, I think, we have been managing. So there is no, situation where salary is delayed or any of that kind of stuff. Thank God, we are managing that effectively. But the situation would have been much, much better if the COVID was not there.
Yeah. So have the international partners redone the entire delivery schedules, or is it still?
No, for us, not really. I think there may be some, kind of impact on the newer projects, because the projects which we are all doing in animation, as you know, it's all longer projects.
Yeah, sure.
So the projects we were doing are all, budgeted. Budget is there, already approved. So really, there is no real problem, and especially with larger companies, those are not a problem. But newer projects, I believe, probably there may be some impact. I am not seeing that for Toonz, but I would imagine for smaller companies there may be some issues.
Now, has your content strategy, has the entire changed for the kids side after the huge consumption that has happened on the kids content side? Do the studios, the platforms need to reorient their strategy, or what they've been doing is fine?
Yeah, I think what we are seeing is, and we don't know whether this is going to continue after pandemic, is something called co-viewing. So basically, because the kids and the parents and everybody is at home, And what a lot of broadcasters and what we are also seeing is that the content which the family can view together, and that is the content which the broadcasters are more and more asking, and we are looking for that kind of concepts and opportunities. But and also we have also seen that their tastes are also kind of changing. They're asking for more interactivity, more immersiveness. They wanted to indulge into it. They wanted to kind of get into social media and stuff like that. So I think that is so from a programming perspective, the focus remains on creating value oriented shows with a global appeal. We are basically collaborating with creators from across the world to produce unique projects with universal values and diverse characters. And inclusiveness and diversity is also two global things, and almost every broadcaster want these two elements incorporated, and that is a representative of the modern world. From a content consumption perspective, the digital space is where we will be investing a lot in the coming months, because that is the most exciting space right now. Kids are getting exposed to more and more content, providing them a safe but fun destination for content consumption is key now, according to me. It is
YouTube Kids has kind of evaporated the revenues from there.
What we have done, yes, it come down drastically. But what we are doing is we have just launched, Anil, our own brand new OTT platform of our own called Toonz. So currently we just launched 2-3 days back in the US in Apple Store, and all. It will probably come in a week's time, but we also going to launch it in a major platform in India, our own kids only content platform called Toonz. So our idea is,
congratulations.
Yeah. So our idea is this is definitely going to be there. Our idea is to create great footfalls and because in YouTube, yes, you are right. We have substantial revenue drop, but we almost have around 500 million views per month, and that's a huge reach. And our idea is, how can we convert that into our own platform? And if we can really get even a good portion of that into our platform, then we will be able to generate our own advertisement revenue. That is what we are looking at.
You're not looking at an SVOD model, you're looking at an AVOD model.
To start with an AVOD model. And we may probably have a premium model later, but to start with, we are an AVOD model.
And integrate your education, or keep that separate with this?
They're very separate companies, separate initiatives.
Fantastic. So, those are the two new projects. In terms of what about other new projects that you're working on internationally or domestically with the domestic broadcasters? I mean, you have shows on Disney, you have shows on Pogo, or which ones are you missing out on so far in India?
In India, we are currently doing Bagam Bag with Disney, and we are doing Chacha Chaudhary also with the Disney. Pakadam Pakadai with Nickelodeon, we have just stopped. We are kind of looking at. We are also looking at another. I can't disclose this new project name, but we are working with another new kids channel in India. Then we are working with ETV on a project. So these are all projects not launched yet, so I can't disclose these names and the companies. But we are doing 4 or 5 local projects, and 2 other projects we are working with other partners, which we will be announcing it very, very soon. From a worldwide point of view, we are collaborating with one renowned creator called Keith Chapman. He's a creator of Paw Patrol, today one of the biggest properties in the world. We are doing an interactive preschool series called Paddy's Paws and Pals. Another one is a value-oriented show called JG and the Busy Kids, in partnership with an American actress, Janet Hubert. So those two projects we already started. Another project, marquee project currently under production at Toonz is Sunnyside Billy. It's a 2D animation preschool series about fun and positivity. The creative heads behind this project is Olivier John Mary and
Oliver Jean-Marie, Augie and the Cockroaches.
Yes, and yeah, so they are our partners. So this is a co-production with co-creation. No, so they're not actually part of production, but they are our partners.
Silim, you think it's with Silim Animation or with who is this with?
No, this is our own production. We already got Television Española as a partner, as an anchor partner, but we are also now talking to some other global partners on that. So we started production already on that particular project. Then, as we discussed earlier, we're partnering with Russia's oldest and most prestigious studio, Soysmult, for a CGI series called Aliens in My Backpack. This project comes from a creator called Rob Lee and James Biscoll. They are creators of BAFTA-nominated, titles like Shoe People. Apart from that, we are also recently signed up with a major US girl-centric, STEM-focused toy company, Goldie Blocks, to develop an animated series titled Goldie Blocks and Friends. We also are started a feature film called Canterville Ghost with the UK producers. 2 other feature film projects are about to start. So I think a plethora of projects. There is no dearth for projects for us.
Congratulations. So that gives some hope for this sector. Anything you'd like to, you're looking at regulation coming into OTT side. So investments, they're looking at everyone who's got, government has announced anyone who's got more than 26% foreign investment in digital projects has to come and notify the MIB. There's some amount of regulation coming into this sector.
Yeah, but
what's your perception on that?
Yeah, but that is mostly to do with the news. I think probably the government is more concerned about the kind of paid news and kind of different groups who are propagating fake news and stuff like that. I don't think at least I haven't really gone through the entire papers, but at least from the highlights, what I understood is that they are not really regulating the entertainment sector. I think they are more regulating the news sector in the digital side.
So you don't see an impact coming on kids. You don't see an impact coming on kids side. You don't see any impact on entertainment, on digital entertainment.
It may be there in the coming days, Anil. But what we are doing, my feeling is that look, for example, COPA, right? We need to create a most safe environment for our kids, even though there is no legal regulation in India. That is something we need to do. So our platform, even though we are launching it in India, it is COPA compliant. So we wanted to really make sure that we are ahead of the game. We wanted to make sure that rather than government come and regulate us, we wanted to make sure that we put regulations for us, so that we put higher ethical code of conduct, because we are dealing with kids. So we wanted to make sure that we are not doing anything which basically impact the safety of them. And but I think one wish list from our side is if the government actually can insist a certain amount of content, even for the digital platforms, which are local content, which I think it will hugely boost local economy and local industry. That I think it can do, because even now, Canada has already come up with a law that even OTT platforms and digital platforms, for a certain percentage, they need to use local content. So if that level, even a small level, 10%, can do a big change to the industry. Because so those are the kind of things I believe the government need to do.
Yeah, so I'm just going to ask you, so what about your faith in the television ecosystem? Has it slowed down a bit as far as you're concerned? Are you as confident of television as compared to OTT?
I think the television is definitely going to stay like radio. We all predicted radio will go. It is still there. But I am pretty sure that, in India, it may take probably a few more years for OTT platform to be that prominent, because India is still a TV market, at least for the next 3-4 years. I think TV will continue to dominate. But TV is continue to stay there. So for me, I think it is about populating my content in every platform. Anil. That's my strategy. So whether it is TV, OTT, or TVOD, SVOD, whatever platform, how do we get, because eventually more money will be generated from consumer products and advertisement. That is what eventually it is going to happen. So for me, I think populating my content in as much as platform as possible and expose my brands to as many kids as possible is probably would be our ultimate goals.
Great. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. If there's any last words you'd like to add here before we part, we've been speaking for about an hour and 20 minutes. I don't know if you had that many, long a conversation with anybody.
No, I think we covered everything. My appeal to my artist in the the general in the industry is that please don't lose hope. I think we are not impacted that badly. I think there is a real hope for this industry, and there is a real scope for growth. So don't believe naysayers. I think be there, be cheerleaders for the industry.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. And thank you to the audience who's been watching this. And thank you for your time, and wish you all the best. And I think let's all work together to see ourselves through this. And look forward to seeing you as a part of Vidnet, because there's Woot Kids, there's you guys. Vidnet is the OTT get together where we have 1,000 people participating. Look forward to you being a part of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anil. You have been a great supporter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You have a good day and a good year ahead. Thank you. Bye-bye.